Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Invictus Racing League here on Twitch, bringing you Season 12 Round 8 action from the Xbox F1 Division live from Silverstone at the British Grand Prix. My name is Keiran 92 and I am joined, as always, on a Tuesday evening by my broadcast colleague, the wonderful Dom the Noodle. Good evening, Dom.
Good evening, Keiran. Welcome to Silverstone, the home of the British Grand Prix. Most of the drivers, home Grand Prix to be precise. There's a lot to say about this track. A lot of tracks take inspiration from it, and it's 3.6 to 3.7 miles long, so there's a lot of inspiration to be taken there. You're looking at, I believe, 22 corners. I may be wrong. I messed up my track guide. Apologies. With a distance from grid to tin 1 of 296 meters. Expect to see the cars at full throttle for about 70% of the race, with a higher downforce than usual. We're looking at, I believe, a 29-second pit lane here, but we're definitely looking to see those one-stop strategies come to play. It's going to be weird to see if any of the top 10 start on the medium compound, because a lot of these drivers are fast enough to get away, well, aren't fast enough to get away with that medium compound because everyone is fast on the softs. So yeah, let's get into some racing shortly. I believe we have almost all drivers here.
We do. We are missing, I believe it's 3 drivers. RSF1 Maniac not racing for Mercedes, CJ Allen not racing for AlphaTauri, and Stallion not racing for Racing Point. So we will have 17 cars on the grid this evening. And whilst we are waiting for everyone to get themselves into the lobby and get themselves set up, give you guys a quick overview of what happened last week if you did miss it. For those of you who did miss last week, in the United States of America, we had our 11th different IRL Xbox winner, as CSR Maitland took the win for the Haas team, with DJ Danny's Renault in second and Botched Gerbil picking up back-to-back third place finishes for that Williams team. So having a look at the championship standings going into week 8 here in Silverstone, we have Liverpool UN02 leading his teammate DJ Danny by 25 points in the drivers' standings, with Farfu a further 10 points back in third. And in terms of that Constructors' Championship, it is that Renault team of Liverpool Ewan and DJ Danny sitting in first place on 155 points, 76 points ahead of Farfu and CJ Allen in the AlphaTauri, with the Williams team of Botched Gerbil and ex-HRC on 67 points in third. So, Dom, who do you think we do need to look out for here at Silverstone as we are nearing qualifying?
Yeah, the leaders for sure. If I'm not mistaken, you did say Liverpool was driving tonight. So yeah, him. I'm interested to see if he can pick up the record for most points scored in a season. That will be very, very enjoyable. And Thunderdome, new driver in IRL, so he's taking the Alfa Romeo tonight. So keep an eye on him, because it's weird when new drivers come in, because you never really understand what their pace is, especially us on the comms, because we haven't been given that information. And seeing as he is a last-minute fill-in as well, I don't even think they had time to get that information, let alone give it to us. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does. If he can go toe-to-toe with some of these boys, then it'll be very, very interesting. I want to see him take on Liverpool, just because it's been a while since he's had a lot of competition. So yeah, let's see if he can take on Ewan and maybe bring some points home in his first race.
Indeed. So as you can see, guys, we are now loading up into the qualifying session here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. This is round 8 of 12. Definitely going to be looking to see whether Liverpool Ewing can, as Dom said, break records in terms of the season, in terms of most points, but more importantly, he can break a record tonight. If Liverpool Ewan finishes on the top step of the podium today, he will break the record for the most wins in Xbox IRL history in terms of over one season. The record currently stands at 4, with the record being held by Fairmoto and DJ Danny. They do share the record at the moment with Ewan. But were Ewan to win today, he would indeed take that record off of not only Fairmoto, who is the Xbox League coordinator, but more importantly, his teammate Dom.
Aha, so yes, I've just had confirmation. Sunny all around. So get your sun tan out, because apparently it's also going to be hot, so let's... I'm really interested to see how that affects the tyres. Sorry if you had asked me a question, obviously I was making sure I got the weather report in so that the spectators knew if they were going to stay around for the dry session, or if they were going to stay around just for a wet session. So yeah, get your sun tan out, get it started on, because it's going to be hot. I want to see if those softs can handle it. I can see a few drivers coming out on mediums. That might be Frank Evolution. If not, and they're going to go for a medium hard to keep the tyre temperatures down, then good luck to them. But yeah, seriously, it's going to be hot. It's going to be interesting.
Indeed it shall be. So we are riding on board with the Haas of CSR Maitland, the race winner from last week. Seeing if he can possibly match what he did last week. He was very, very pleased with the result that he did have last week, and I think definitely from a driver's point of view, he is going to look to try and see if he can indeed build on that. Dom, have you got any stats or facts in regards to Silverstone or even IRL at Silverstone?
So I can give you some Silverstone facts, for sure. Obviously, there are two quote-unquote main straights, one of which is used by us here in F1, and the other one is used by several different motorsports, including, but not limited to, MotoGP, the World Endurance Championships, and Britcar. Other facts are as follows. I did mess up the turns. We have 18 corners, 10 to the right and 8 to the left, 26 laps, and the longest flat-out section is just over 1,000 meters. Also, the now knighted Sir Lewis Hamilton has a straight here named after himself, which I believe is the main straight. Which, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, you are very excited about that. If you're not, naming no names, you're not really bothered about it. But congratulations to him for getting a whole straight named after himself. Other fact, so Jamie29X is entering his first IRL Xbox race without scoring a podium. That is a lot of races, and seeing as there are 49 total IRL Xbox races, he has only put 8 of them. Well, the last time he posted one was 41 races ago, so that could possibly be 8 back-to-back races on the podium, or just 1 podium. That doesn't mean that he's not done well. He has been, getting the points here and there, and he's a great midfield racer. But just unfortunate to get that podium.
Indeed, as we see Botch Gerbil cross the line here for the first lap of the qualifying session. 1:24.930 by Botched Gerbil. Dom, I do know that you were having a chat with a couple of the drivers in terms of what times they were expecting to hit in qualifying, as Farfu goes first with a 1:24.453.
Yeah, I am just getting that message back up now. I was told that a driver, who I will name after qualifying has finished, he did so recently in a test run he did a 1 minute 24.3, which is enough at the moment to put him in first place. Farfu as well, that's something I've got to relate back to. So Farfu is very much going to be out of the drivers' championship run here at the moment. However, he could still get points, and I believe is still able to contend for
Yes. Yeah,
P2.
yeah. Farfu is still very much in the hunt to get himself up there, in and around the. I don't think the title is that far away from Farfu yet. It is still possible. There are a lot of permutations that need to work in Farfu's favour for him to be able to win the Drivers' Championship, but it is very, very possible. As we will quickly, is that going to be one of the Haas's? No? Who is that going to be coming around? Is that a lot of people diving into the pits? I believe that's going to be Sir Sharks. Or was it El Senedo? No, it was El Senedo, sorry. 125.822 by El Senedo on those medium tyres.
Yeah, talking about Sir Sharks, he's on the soft. He's just crossed the line with a fastest purple sector, goes third with a 124.978. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can up that.
I will say, Dom, DJ Danny has set 2 lap times here, and so far can only get as fast as 125.4, and he has set those times on the medium tyre. Could we be seeing a medium to soft strategy from DJ Danny?
Possibly. Him and W have come together a few times with their pit strategies. They haven't double stacked, they refused outright. But it has got to the point recently where Danny has had to sort of work with his teammate who's come in earlier, because it tends to be that Liverpool is slightly ahead of Danny when the first pit comes around, and that then causes a question of who pits first. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he sticks with that medium compound, because that is going to put him 6th, and he doesn't have another set to go with.
Indeed, I did think it was very, very interesting that we have seen DJ Danny, the man who is currently sitting 2nd in the driver's standings, as James F1 unfortunately does invalidate his lap time there. It's not ideal, but he will go around for another run. Try and work out who that is. Put Box Gerbil has also just popped himself into the pits. Who's that? Let's just cross up. Raza, who has invalidated. Let's have a quick look around. We've got yellow flags in sector 1.
I've just been bored with Jamie. He has not blocked the pits.
So we have got a yellow flag in sector 1 as the game removes Jamie29X's car from the race. That was very, very interesting from the game there, to say that DJ Danny was blocking
Jamie.
the pit lane. Jamie, sorry. My apologies.
Yeah, he came out of turn 1, spun it a little bit across the pit lane. Got a bit of front wing damage, and obviously he spun after he'd hit the wall, and it said that because he was still spinning, he was blocking the pit lane.
I see. As you can see now, guys, from the timing screens, quite a few of the drivers now moving back onto those soft tyres. Could that... It's somewhat confused me there, Dom, in regards to Danny going out and setting those times on the medium compound of tyre.
Yeah, it's...
to then come out and go on soft.
So he's probably looked at his times, and So a lot of drivers will come out here, put the mediums on, do a bit of track evolution, which is big in the game, and then, you know, go back in, strap a set of softs on and do their lap. Now if he's come out, he's done his track evolution lap and thought, you know what, I think I've got the pace here to do, you know, to do a fast lap on these mediums. I'll give it a go. And he's done it. He's realised that it wasn't as fast as he thought, especially with some of these boys posting 24.4s.
XHRC really struggling there as he took those last few corners. That is going to be an 124.904 from XHRC there. Does move him up into second place. 8 minutes left in the session here in qualifying. This is Season 12 Round 8 action from the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. My name is Keiran92 and as always I am joined by Dom the Noodle. This is the Invictus Racing League. And who is due to set a lap? We got you. No, it's not you. It'll be Danny. 141.293. I believe that was probably more than anything going to be an unofficial outlap from Danny there. We shall see. As he moves up.
I know Danny did invalidate his lap time exiting the pits on his flat, sorry, on his softs. That's the one I was looking for. So, in regards
Mason
to
HRX.
In regards to
You've been able to find that lap time comment?
Nope. No, everyone's coming into the pits at the moment. In regards to Dota, there's only really been a few major instances reported for you guys to be aware of. There are a couple of penalties handed out, and I will run through them quickly. Actually, there's a lot more time penalties than I thought there was. I clearly hadn't went down as far as I thought I had. So there is so against Raza, there's a 10-second time penalty and 1 license point, and an official reprimand. CJ Allen and El Senado ended with a 5-second penalty for CJ Allen.
There he is. DJ Danny put himself P2 124.469. Sorry to just quickly jump in front of you there, Dom.
That's alright. It's a pretty fast lap too. I respect that. So yeah, going back on Raz, another 10-second time penalty with 1 license point. Serge Knox got himself a 5-second time penalty. Don Crouchy got himself a 5-second time penalty, and that was it. So yeah, there's quite a few instances and incidents, and it wasn't the cleanest of all races, but it was really exciting from our perspective. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure how you felt after it, but I definitely needed a sleep. I was very tired just from watching.
I'll tell you now, when the race finished last week, I definitely needed a drink, I'll tell you that much. It took a lot out of my voice. On the note of surprises, Thunderdome 2686, the new driver that you did mention a little bit earlier, Dom, put himself 5th at the moment.
Yeah,
just behind CSR Maitland.
Yeah, 24.647. That's rapid. He's probably going to go back. In fact, he is currently out on a flyer. I will just double check to see how that is going for him. Unfortunately, he might get held up by some yellow flags here. No tacky screen going into those flags sections. So, let's see if he can do something here. As he goes through Maggots and Beckett's. Which is weird, because Maggots and Beckett's is in theory 3 turns, but there's only 2 turn names. Not quite sure how that works.
It's going to be Raza. Here he is. Riding on board with Raza as he approaches the final 3 corners of this lap here. Currently on for a little bit of a slower lap, potentially. Let's have a look. 125.452. Enough for P11, Dom.
Yeah, Raza was rapid last week. I think Raza's going to do a U. Really good at Kota. To be fair, he is on the medium compound. I will be very surprised if he doesn't switch over to the reds. Everyone else is. I would like to know what the track temps are right now. That would be interesting. See if I can get the track temps from one of the drivers.
So, Sani on an outlap over there. Mufasa is also on an outlap. In fact, both of the Ferrari drivers, one behind the other.
Well,
so a bit of an interesting move here.
That's happened recently somewhere else. Funnily enough, Bahrain, first race of the season. 0.001 of a second between them. Now, that's not quite what's happened here. There's about a tenth, 11 tenths.
A little bit more than that, yeah.
Not 11 tenths. No.
No, you're looking at about 2 tenths between Sani and Mufasa in the two Ferrari cars. We will quickly just pop and have a look at where is Mr. IRL Matt. There he is on his outlap as he takes the final 2 turns here to start a hot lap. We will quickly just drop back to St. Johnston. Where is St. Johnston?
That's an interesting
coming
question.
Up the hanger straight.
To that question.
Indeed. Liverpool Ewan still yet to set a lap time. Raza has retired from the session.
I have an answer.
Yep.
For that Liverpool
Go
Ewan
for it,
not
Dom.
setting a lap time.
So Johnson goes P8.
Liverpool Ewan has just got back from football training, so he's doing a 1 quali lap with no practice.
Match could be very, very interesting. There we go. And as we mentioned him, 1 minute 30 left in the session. Liverpool Ewan is on his way out. He is leaving this incredibly late. I'm going to be honest. If Ewan gets stuck in traffic here, Ewan may not make it back to the start line in time to make a lap.
So I am on board with Liverpool Ewan right now. The only possible problem he's going to have here is maybe
Matt dives into the pits.
Maybe a few cars in front of him. There's a Haas in front of him.
Fofu is coming up.
It's St. Johnston. His teammate looks to be behind him on a fast lap as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if he tows his teammate or just says, no, not today, sir. I'm getting a win. I'm getting pole position.
Fafu goes even faster, 124.378.
He towed his teammate.
Interesting. We go. Here comes Danny coming up through the final few corners now as the Haas dives into the pits. DJ Danny coming around the final 2 corners here. Here comes Danny into the final 15 seconds. Danny goes fastest, 124.338. And we will quickly just look to see, is Liverpool Ewan going to cross the line in time? He has crossed the line in time. We have got 5 seconds left of this session. All of the guys who are in the pits are now going to be unable to set lap times. Qualifying is now officially over. XHRC, St. Johnston, IRL Mats and El Senado's qualifying sessions are done.
I have just witnessed the biggest lack of respect. So Ewan was nice enough to tow Danny down, I believe, the hanger straight. Quote me if I'm wrong, just after Maggots and Baggots.
CSR Maitland goes P3, 124.409 for the Haas driver here. We will ride on board with James for a moment, just trying to work out who is where on track. You go ahead, Dom, as you were saying. Sorry to cut in front of you there, my friend.
So Ewan towed Danny, I believe it's the hanger straight, quote me if I'm wrong, the one just in after Maggots and Baggots to the RS straight.
Yes, it
however,
would be the hanger straight.
In return, literally just into turn 3, just DJ Danny pulls over, out the way.
Interesting, here we go. Liverpool Ewing, big lock up there going into the third to last corner. Liverpool Ewing coming round these final 2 turns. Is he going to put his car on pole? Only enough for P4. P4 for
P5.
the championship leader as Botched Gerbil takes the top spot with a 1:24.233. We'll just quickly see. We've got one car left on track, I believe, which is DJ Danny. But I believe that Danny is very much on, and Danny is very, very much on an in-lap. 53 seconds slower than his most recent lap time, which does mean the Williams of Botched Gerbil starting on pole, Dom.
Yeah, congratulations. Really well, and if I'm not mistaken, I said a 34.4, a 24.4. So he has smashed that. Now that it's finished, and the times come up again, I will give a quick, rough estimate of what the difference was. But I'll let you. So 24.4, 24.2. He is about 2/10 of a second faster than the driver that is CSR Maitland, and I believe he posted a pretty much the same time as he did previously. But yeah, give a quick rundown of the qualified there, right?
Indeed, thank you very much, Dom. Botched Gerbil in the Williams puts himself on pole, a 10th of a second ahead of DJ Danny in the Renault. Farfu 11 in the AlphaTauri puts himself P3, CSR Maitland P4. Liverpool Ewan, our current championship leader, in 5th, Sir Sharks P6. James F1 ETC in 7th, Thunderdome on debut for the Alfa Romeo team in 8th, ex-HRC in 9th for the Williams team. St Johnston in the Haas rounds off the top 10. As we are going to prepare ourselves for the race today.
Yep, all of those drivers locked to the tyre compound they qualified on.
They are indeed. What we're going to quickly do whilst we are waiting for all the drivers to sort out strategies and things like that. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of the weekly stream schedule here at Invictus. We stream Monday through Thursday in race leagues involving the PlayStation, the Xbox and the PC on a Monday evening at 8 PM. All of our races will start at 8 PM. On a Monday, it is Gareth and Sab bringing you PlayStation F1 on our YouTube channel. PlayStation F2 is on the exact same time as we are on the YouTube channel, streamed by Malc and Craig. Obviously here on the Twitch channel, it is myself and Dom hosting the F1 League on a Wednesday. It's a very, very busy day. You have 4 streams on a Wednesday evening. You have Hoppers and Wojciech on PlayStation F3. Andriy at the moment on his own on PlayStation F4. We are trying to find a commentator to work with Andriy on the YouTube channel there. JCol and Dan doing PC F1, and Geek and It's Fozzy on the F2 side of things. All 4 of those are streamed over on the YouTube channel. And then on a Thursday you have the PlayStation Realistic Performance League being streamed by Tim by Tim and Malc on YouTube. And then here on Twitch you have Andrew and Matt hosting the Xbox Realistic Performance. I mentioned the YouTube channel there, guys. It is youtube.com/InvictusRL. The Twitter, if you guys want to on Twitter and get involved in the conversations over there, it is at InvictusRL. And on Instagram, you can find us at Invictus Racing League. If you are enjoying what you are seeing and you think you could do what these guys can do, InvictusRacingLeague.com is the place you want to be able to get yourself involved in the racing. Whew, and I can breathe.
Yeah,
Dom, over to you.
Congratulations, you shamelessly plugged amazingly once again. Oh, I couldn't say it better myself, actually. Yeah, seriously, Thursday night, guys. Seriously, if you can, every single night of the week. But if you really, really want to watch some great Xbox F1 racing, especially realistic performance, head over on a Thursday to Twitch, same channel, to go and watch Andrew and Matt, 2 really great guys who just did about it before we came into this to come here, and they're also watching as well in spectator mode. So yeah, seriously, yeah, go give them a watch. They're great guys, really funny. Both of them can talk the hind legs of a donkey and make a deaf person hear again. So yeah, we've got the green light to ready up. Obviously we will have a formation lap beforehand. So let's see how well these boys can do formation lap, because it has been way too long since I've seen full formation lap where no one's disqualified.
Indeed, indeed. What we'll do is, like we did last week in Kota, whilst the drivers are around doing their formation lap, I will let Dom comment in terms of a pit strategy and of course what tyres the guys are all driving, whilst I get everything ready at my end. So Dom, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, I hope you can get your stuff ready real quick, man, because there is one tyre strategy here, and that is soft to medium. And if you really want to push my buttons, you go medium to soft. But I don't see the point, because you know you've all qualified on the soft tyre. You're gonna get left behind. You might as well try and keep with the pack. So yeah, soft to medium strategy. Lap 9, maybe. For that pit stop, I will give you a just give me a moment. Yeah, pitting in lap 9 to 11 for mediums. If you're starting on the softs, and if you're starting on the mediums, like I said, just to push my buttons, you are pitting lap 16 to 19 for the softs. Pull it off, and you could have won the race. And if you, I mean, the undercut here is dirty, so I'm saying lap 9 to 11. But we could see some of these drivers come in 7, 6, 7, 8. Especially looking for that undercut, because now Danny is, behind Watch Gerbil, and Liverpool is going to want to win that championship already. They're both going to be looking to undercut, so I would not be surprised to see either of those drivers come in lap 7 at all.
Well, there we go. You see the drivers just coming up the hangar straight now, coming through the final few turns here at this world famous Silverstone circuit, as I think there may be a little bit of contact between IRL Mats and El Senedo there, as both have been disqualified from the formation lap, so they will automatically just jump back onto the grid, as DJ, Danny and Farfu really wanted to get this race underway as quickly as they can, ghosting inside Botched Gerbil there in the Williams.
However,
trying to just nudge Gerbil on that little bit.
I have some bad news for you guys. This is not the first formation lap you are going to see tonight. We are going to have a Bahrain all over again. We are having a lobby restart. I apologise to you guys who were really eager to watch the racing. Yeah, I believe something's happened.
Host disconnect followed by noticeable lag on formation lap. Top 10 please start on their qualifying lap tyre. So you are going to have a lobby restart, guys. You'll probably notice that some of these drivers will go,
that's one
virtual safety car on lap 1. That's one way to get yourself out. Right, let's quickly just jump out of here, guys. We are going to have a lobby restart, so just bear with us a few minutes, guys, just whilst the admins get everything sorted out and get us back into lobbies. Hosting it will invite you to a new lobby. Thank you, Keith.
I really wish you hadn't have shamelessly plugged us so early now, because now
it's not a problem.
Conversation with you about what the lobby looks like. I mean, no, there's a few things we can go through. So let's revert back to last week, where we were.
Before we do that, Dom, I'm just going to go and give a couple of bits and pieces in terms of a few things you may have potentially missed a little bit earlier on. This is the second time that IRL Xbox has visited Silverstone, but most importantly, it's the first time on this edition of the game. So it's the first time on F1 2020. The last visit was on Season 10, Round 10. The pole position time there was a 1:26.1 by Ryan97, so you can see Bosch Gerbil was about a second and a half faster than Ryan was from the previous game. Interesting thing to note here though, Dom, the podium. On that race, DJ Danny won the race, Liverpool Ewan was second, and our very own Fair Moto finished on the third step of that podium.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Unfortunately,
I don't think they've got drives in this league anymore.
he does not, but you can watch Fairmoto on a Thursday evening here on Twitch in the Realistic Performance League, hosted as always by our very, very good friends, Papa Goose himself, Andrew and Matty. So as I say, guys, that will be here on the Twitch channel on Thursday night. I will quickly go and plug all the socials before Dom finishes off what he was saying about last week at COTA, the YouTube channel where you can watch all of the other races when they are streamed live, and more importantly, this race back. As soon as this race is finished, it is picked up by one of the admins. The VOD is picked up and it is taken over to the YouTube channel and is uploaded on the YouTube channel where it will stay permanently. That is youtube.com/InvictusRL. The Twitter, if you guys want to get involved and join the conversation, it is at InvictusRL, and the Instagram, as always, is at Invictus Racing League. The league's website, InvictusRacingLeague.com, if you guys want to get involved, or if you are in the Twitch chat, I believe it's !signups in chat should get you the link to join the league. So, Dom, as you were saying, you want to finish off your little recap of last week at COTA.
Yeah, recap is going to be a little bit harder to do, because I have got the mental capacity of a sieve. However, I remember what happened. Well, there were battles in every sector of the track at all times.
Indeed, there were. Indeed, there were.
I'm
yeah,
reply
not a
to a
problem.
message in the Discord.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, as Dom said, there was very, very much battles left, right, and centre last week at COTA. It didn't really matter where we put the cameras last week. There was always gonna be a battle. Yeah, you have got a lot of the drivers over in the Discord getting very, very excited because, of course, with a brand new lobby reset, it means that everyone's tyres are brand new and fresh. So the top 10, rather than being on those slightly scrubbed tyres that they would have had from qualifying, they are going to have brand new, beautiful, lovely, fresh, red, soft tyres for them to be able to push as much as they can. As you can see, we have got people starting to ready up now. Jamie 29th and Liverpool Ewan Saney have all started to ready up. The drivers are readying up now. We are getting ready to go green once again here at the Invictus Racing League. There will indeed be another formation lap. So again, a little bit more for myself and Dom to plug. This, of course, is one of the not so fun things about having to commentate on leagues. Of course, when you have things like this that go wrong, they can't be helped. But of course, that's why we always very, very kindly get a race document sent out to us by the fantastic Fairmoto, who gives us lots and lots of bits and pieces, like DJ Danny, Liverpool Ewan, and James F1 ETC, all entering their 29th IRL Xbox F1 race. And as Dom did mention earlier on, Liverpool Ewan on for the record to potentially break, on for breaking the record for the most points in a season. That record currently stands for the F1 division at 103.5 points, which was a season 10 record by DXTHK. But the overall Xbox record is held by Fairmoto himself last season in season 11 over on the F2 League, and his total 118 points. A win for Ewan here will put Ewan on 105, only 13 points behind Fairmoto. Now, I know Fairmoto is watching both as a spectator and here in the Twitch chat. I wonder how he's feeling about the prospect of his record potentially going. but it just shows how strong of a driver Liverpool Ewan is, Dom.
Yeah, it does. He's really good. He's picked up a lot of good positions this season, and you know what? It's now got to the point where I was going to say something, but I forgot. Rosa has apologised. He started. He wasn't supposed to. Ah, the pain, the pain. The spitting with the silent S. Oh.
Indeed.
Why do they do this to us? Oh.
But as you can see, the lobby is now getting ready to start. Some of the drivers may particularly have not been ready. But for the second time this evening, we will be having a formation lap.
Ah, I remember. Just like that. Yeah, this formation lap, so 2 formation laps, this one is going to be crucial. This is going to be more crucial than the last one. Because this one, all of the tyres are starting on 0%. So they're going to want to use as little tread as possible. So they're going to try and warm these tyres up whilst doing as little mileage and as little weight, like sort of load bearing on the tyres as possible. Try and keep out of the heat as much as possible, just to bring that tyre wear down. They're not going to want a wheel spun off the line. Whilst that does bring, you know, some tyre grip into the rear tyres for the start, it's not going to be useful for them. And yeah, this lap is probably the most crucial of all this race, thanks to a restart.
With that being said, Dom, does that slightly change pit strategies? Now that they don't have that extra wear that they would have had from the tyres in qualifying, does that now mean that technically these drivers could run just that little bit longer on those soft tyres?
In a way, yes. I mean, yeah, you're now looking at a lap 11 to 14 rather than a 9 to 11. However, I don't think you'll see them last that long. Not out of respect for race control and the fact that we're having to do this again, but just because, you know, like I said, that undercut is huge. You know, this is a 29-second pit stop. 29 seconds. I take less time to make a coffee. So yeah,
there's something you didn't know about Dom there, ladies and gents. Something you didn't know about Dom. He takes less than 29 seconds to make a coffee. But as you can see now, guys, the drivers are starting to find their grid positions. Just looking back behind Farfu there.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that you can't see a little man walking behind them waving a green flag. That'd be great.
Indeed, indeed. Here we go. Drivers are on their starting grids. We have got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Everyone's getting ready, and we are racing here at Silverstone in the British Grand Prix. Botch Gerbil looks to have got himself off to a pretty decent start here. DJ Danny gets himself off to an absolute fly. We've got someone running very, very wide there. Virtual safety car on lap 1 as St Johnston retires from the race. I think there may have been a little bit of an incident there between himself and Nathan HRX. Nathan HRX has received a 5-second penalty for causing a collision between himself and St Johnston. That's not going to be the best of starts for St Johnston, and most definitely not the start that St Johnston wanted, Dom.
No, it's not, and it is upsetting. He's down 7 positions from that, and he is out. So yeah, that is going to cause a massive problem. We've just gone green again on track. Nathan HRX is down 5 places, and JP29X is up 5 places. So, you know, congratulations, Jimmy. Let's go. Seeing as he did start from Stone Cold Bottom after being disqualified from the first practice, the first qualifying for, well, doing something he didn't do. St. Johnston's not going to be happy about that. He is not happy about that. His Discord message is definitely against our rules in the commentary box, so I'm going to keep it clean, PG, and not mention that message.
Very, very good idea. We are riding with Farfu. He is under a lot of pressure here from Liverpool Ewan, our championship leader, who's going to want to try and get himself off to the best possible start and get himself away from that P5 as quickly as he possibly can. We are going to get the little glitch I think we normally get as everyone zooms around and moves left, right and centre around the track. So guys, I would say just take the standings on the left hand side of your screen with a little pinch of salt. They aren't the correct one. They're not the correct standings as of yet. You will start seeing everything come back to normal very, very shortly. I can confirm that our race leader at the moment is Botched Gerbil. There we go. I believe we are back to normal now in terms of the race standings. Botched Gerbil leaves half a second from DJ Danny, who has got CSR Maitland, Farfu and Liverpool Ewan right behind them. Very, very close battling here between the drivers. Dom, have you found any interesting battles further down the grid potentially?
Yeah, Jamie on Raza. That's pretty close. But I would like to point out that if Farfu can just bridge that gap again a second, all the way down to 10th place is one big DRS train.
Indeed,
That's a huge. That's about a 10-second gap, maybe a 7-second gap at most between the lot of them. That's impressive. 128.169 as a lap, fastest lap of the race so far. That will definitely change. Seeing as, I mean, the record at this track is a 1:25.1 back in 2010. Obviously he has never and will never drive for Invictus Racing League unless any of you know him personally, can pop a DM, because we all know he likes a bit of virtual racing just like we do.
Indeed, just going to jump in front of you here, Don. We have got James F1 ETC making a move on Sir Sharks, makes it look very, very easy under DRS in that Mercedes, and is now looking to hunt down championship leader and third in the championship as Farfu and Liverpool Ewan ahead get very, very close to each other. Ewan does push himself through though. Liverpool Ewan, our current championship leader, looking to break the record this race for the most wins in a season in IRL Xbox, moves himself one place closer to being able to do that. He is now currently sitting in P4.
Yeah, like you said, he's a great driver, and he got a podium here last time, straight behind his teammate DJ Danny.
XHRC getting very, very close to Sir Sharks. He's going to take it around the outside as Jamie 29X has unfortunately retired from the session and has El Senado. We have a full course safety car. There was unfortunately a bit of a collision between the two drivers there. As a result, we have got a safety car. Dom, were you able to see what happened?
Did not know, but if my prediction is correct, these boys should be going to the hards. They are. These boys
Which is exactly what James F1 ETC has done. The driver's now looking to potentially one stop. That safety car could not have come at a better time for the likes of Farfu, James F1 and Sir Sharks, who were able to very, very quickly dive into the pits there. Farfu, I think, did get himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Wasn't able to slow that AlphaTauri down enough before he crossed that pit lane line there. So definitely a bit of a challenge now for Farfu going forward to see whether or not he's going to be able to bridge a 5-second gap to maintain whichever position he looks to be in. Interesting though, Don, that only Farfu, James and Sir Sharks and Nathan HRX, who has now just jumped into the pit again himself, making his second stop of the evening. Only those 4 drivers on those hard tyres, Dom. Thoughts?
Yes and no. So, if anyone else is gonna come in, they're gonna do it momentarily because they were unfortunate. Whereas the safety car came out at an awkward time. Most of them had come past the pit lane entry. You know, the line that's on the right hand side that just splits before the grass, a lot of them had passed that grass bit, which, you know, if they cross along that grass bank, that is, you know, it's going to be a major downfall. That's 3 seconds. That's, you know, that's a 10 penalty, possibly 10 seconds. If race control deem it worthy enough, that could be a scrubbed race result, especially if it's dangerous. So it's definitely points on the license if they do so. As CSR Maitland comes into the pits for the hard tyres as well. So yeah, I did say that another one would come in. However, these boys are on the softs and the mediums. The mediums will be okay for a while. They are the faster tyre than the hards. Both sets here are. So yeah, they should get some ground on the hard runners, and that will allow them to just create a gap big enough for a pit stop later on, in which they can move onto the opposite compound, whereas the tyres at that point will be very, very worn. They will be on much, much newer tyres and be able to bridge the gap quite quickly.
Indeed. So we are here, lap number 5 here at Silverstone. This is the British Grand Prix on Season 12 in the Invictus Racing League. My name is Keiran Wright 92. I am joined, as always, by Dom the Noodle. We are currently having to serve a little bit of a safety car here. There was unfortunately a little bit of an issue between Jamie 29X and El Senado, where the two drivers did unfortunately collide, which was the cause of this safety car. We have got Farfu in P10, James F1 ETC in 11, Sir Sharks, CSR Maitland and Nathan HRX all on the hard tyre, not having to worry about coming back into the pits, because their race, in terms of strategy anyway, in terms of the pits, they are...
Safety car is in this
They
lap.
are done.
Thank you, race
Indeed,
control.
safety car is in. We've heard from race control there. Safety car's coming in. Botch Gerbil will now pace the field in Sector 3. No one is allowed to start racing until we get the green flags and the cars pass the safety car line. So it is now all down. Yeah, not a problem, mate. We're all down to Botch Gerbil. Botch Gerbil is the man that makes the decision as when he wants to push. I'm wondering whether he is going to Valtteri Bottas this and potentially wait until the last possible moment. He doesn't. He decides to go now, going around the second to last corner. We are green. We are racing here again in Silverstone, and Botch Gerbil and DJ Danny have got a very, very good start. Very, very good jump there on our championship leader, Liverpool Ewan, who is coming under a little bit of pressure from XHRC, who is Botch Gerbil's teammate in third place. Liverpool Ewan is able to hold on to that. We have got a yellow flag in Sector 1. We have a CSR Maitland who is running a little bit slow. I think he may have gone a little bit wide into turn 2, or possibly been knocked by a driver. Sorry, I will let Dom confirm that though. Our top 5 as we are looking is the Williams of Botch Gerbil in P1, Loreno of DJ Danny in P2, current championship leader, and Danny's teammate Liverpool Ewan in P3, XHRC P4, Thunderdome on debut on those soft tyres in P5. Then we have got our 4 medium runners in Raza, IRL, Mats, Saini and Mufasta. And then from P10 down, you can see the guys that are only that are on those hard tyres and will not need to pit again, as Sir Sharks picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, as does XHRC in P4. We're going to have a look a little bit further down the grid as Farfu makes that move on Mufasta. I was just about to go and have a look at that battle there. Farfu moves himself up into P9 ahead of the Ferrari of Mufasta there. Botch Gerbil 127.720 as Thunderdome on debut has had a little bit of an issue coming out of the final corner, and unfortunately has ended up in the pit wall. And again, for the second time this race, the full course safety car has been brought out. IRL Matt has received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That's going to make Matt's race very, very interesting now, as I believe Dom will be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but the pit lane at Silverstone is one of the slowest on the calendar.
37 miles per hour. In some countries, it is legal to drive through a school zone faster than this pit lane. It is a very, very slow pit lane. It takes so long, 29 seconds, like I said, longer than it takes me to make a coffee, to get from the start to the finish. He is going to be hating every second of this drive under the safety car, knowing that he then has 3 laps. Not just, not until the end of the race, where he can slap a set of softs on, do a couple of flyers, come back in, save some time under that safety car, get some of the heat gone out of the tyres as well, which is a big problem, especially on the softs later in the race, and then, have the tyres colder for a longer stint. And no, it's got to be within a few seconds. So he's going to be on those mediums. He's now changed in the pits, so that could be the hards.
Yeah, a lot of cars are now coming into the pits. We would assume that this is going to be for the hard tyre, just so IRL mats won't have to stop again. Because the most important thing to bear in mind here, ladies and gents, is despite there now being a safety car, IRL mats is still unable to serve that penalty. He will have to wait until the safety car has finished before he's able to come and serve that drive-through penalty. So the Racing Point of Raza now takes the lead at the top of this race here, with the other guys that have come into the pits. It is interesting, I suppose the guys that have just come into the pits running onto the medium tyres, looking to go to the end on a slightly longer stint on those medium tyres, Dom?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, originally it was like 9 to 11 for pits, before the restart, the lobby restart. Then it came up from 11. Then it came up to 11 to 14. But that's lap 9 predicted. The undercut, like I said, is huge. So this would be when people are pitting for the medium compound tyre anyway. So yeah, that C2 will really come into play here. So it's going to be interesting.
And of course,
because I mean, from 3rd down to 6th, all of those on hards. Mufasa, I don't think Mufasa trusts his tyres. He might be a controller user, so he might not trust the mediums to go as long. But from 3rd down to 6th, they haven't pitted. So they're going to be on the hards for the rest of the race. So unless they're planning on doing a quick dart into the pits just after the safety car comes in, I don't see them changing.
And most important thing to remember here, whilst under the safety car, you're not actually using that much tyre wear, as Matt's night goes from bad to worse, as Matt now receives a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, to add on top of the drive-through penalty that he does unfortunately have. Matt's now moving on to the medium tyre, so he will look to pretty much finish the race on that medium compound now, but still having to serve that penalty when the safety car does come back in, which I would assume is more than likely going to be this lap. We will have a quick look at the penalties. As you can see there, IRL Mats with the drive-through penalty, XHRC with 3 seconds, Farfu with 5 for that speeding in the pit lane, and Sir Sharks with a 3-second time penalty as well.
Yeah, I'd like to make a bit of a running commentator's joke. Oh look, there's a battle. Oh wait, it's a safety car.
Indeed.
When you check the timing boards, but forget that there's a safety car. And you know what? I would have given the safety car driver's name. However, like I said, my memory is a sieve. I forgot it.
Mr. Burnt Mylander? How can you forget Mr. Burnt Mylander, Dom?
Look, I'm old, okay? I'm old. You forget this stuff.
Just want to comment, guys, Dom is not as old as he makes it sound, though he is. Trust me on that one. we will have a quick look to see indeed the safety car is going to come in this lap, which means we are going to go racing here again. That's not a problem at all, Elson. Not a problem at all, my friend. See you in the chat. Welcome in. I hope you are well. Unfortunately, not the best end to your race, my friend. Hopefully, you can bounce back next week at Paul Ricard. So again, Raza pacing the field here in Sector 3 as we get ready to go racing. He has jumped very, very early here. Saini not prepared for it. Raza getting off to an absolute flyer here. 1.7 seconds is the lead as Raza crosses the line. And we go racing here again at Silverstone. What a start from Raza.
Yeah, he's going to get a penalty for that after the race. That is not going to be allowed under any rulebook. I mean, if I'd have to double check Invictus' rulebook, because unless they allow it, every single rulebook in the world states that racing before you cross the line is just not allowed. Like, we're not even talking about overtaking before the line here. We're talking about a full jump start. Like, the safety car hadn't even come into the pits properly and parked up. He'd gone that early, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets a penalty afterwards for that, because he's gained time out of basically an illegal restart. And I don't
leave that though for the stewards.
I don't mean to bring anyone's mood down with that, but that's the fact. You cannot jump that early.
We've got people in the chat saying, no, that was perfect. It's no overtaking before the line. Technically speaking, that was my thinking, Dom, that the leader of the race was able to go whenever they felt that it was right to do so. Watched Gerbil falling down.
So the track has to be green before you can start racing.
Oh, there was a bit of an incident there between Sir Sharks and Botched Gerbil. And just as quickly as it starts, we're back under a safety car, ladies and gents.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
For the third time this race, we are under the safety car conditions here at Silverstone. Botched Gerbil losing the back end just that little bit, coming around the final corner. And similar to Thunderdome, ends in the pit wall. So that gain that Raza was able to get pretty much null and void now, as of course the whole grid need to bunch back up again as XHRC picks up another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. You can see on screen now there, guys, the people who have got time penalties. Raza with 3 seconds, Farfu with 5, Sir Sharks with 3, Nathan HRX with 3, XHRC with 6, Mufasta with 3, and IRL Match still yet to serve that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
I do believe, though, IRL Match has served his drive-through, hence why the red ball on the map on the right-hand side of the screen is as far back as it is. IRL Match did, from the restart there, jump into the pits and serve that drive-through penalty. As we see some drivers jumping into the pits now, it is James F1 ETC, Sir Sharks, and Maitland has stayed out. Nathan HRX and Mufasta have all jumped into the pits. That is James F1 ETC in the Mercedes, the McLaren of Sir Sharks, Nathan HRX in the Alfa Romeo, and Mufasta in the Ferrari, all popping into the pits to put on fresh medium tyres, which will then do them nicely for the end of the race, Dom.
Yeah, good move by those lot. It's weird to see what these guys out front are doing. Thought Flafu might change for a set of mediums. Well, that hasn't happened. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works for the lads. But yeah, hopefully we get a clean restart this time, and Raza doesn't jump the gun completely, because I have just checked it, and the rules are that you, as the leader, you have to keep no more than a 1 second gap between you and the car behind for restart, before you cross the line. He was about a second point 2 ahead. In recent times, when something like this has happened, it was a drive-through penalty. Obviously, we cannot award that due to this being a very simple arcade sim game, not having race control. Maybe in the future. Oh, safety car in this lap, that's been pretty quick.
Safety car in very, very quickly here, guys. We are going to go back racing once again. Farfu again, Raza again, pacing the field in Sector 3 here. We will watch the man who currently leads this race on 11 lap old medium tyres. You do have to bear in mind that Raza still needs to pit. He has to make sure that he pits before the end of this race, so he will need to come in. So, technically speaking, Farfu will be net P1 as we go racing again here in the session. XHRC has left the session. Dom, we may need to potentially get...
There goes DJ Danny. Into the wall. I don't think he's actually, like, sort of killed anything on the car. I think that front wing looks very, very normal to me for a Renault front wing. And by normal, I mean complex as all hell, but normal.
There we go. There we go. We are now riding on board with Danny. Yet there doesn't look to be any damage to that Renault car there. XHRC may potentially need an invite back into the session. So just be aware for that. Ooh, a little bit slidey from DJ Danny there. We are going to jump back up to the race at the top of the standings here. We're going to, in fact, we're going to go a little bit further. I'm going to go a little bit into the midfield here. And we have another safety car. The safety car has come out yet again. Not quite sure why the safety car has come out. Dom, can you see a reason as to why the safety car has come out?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it looks like Team Renault are just paying the FIA to just send out the safety car. Raza's come in.
Raza gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He has come into the pits, but he's got a 5-second penalty.
That explains it.
Quite a few drivers are going to come in now.
To go into the pit lane on the basis that he could gain a penalty. So a few drivers stayed out though.
Matt's in the pits.
But no,
Farfu, I believe, has stayed out. He has.
I think he stayed out too, and he's on 13 lap old mediums. That's interesting.
Saini again has also stayed out. Interesting decision by the Ferrari driver there to stay out on those what must be incredibly worn tyres now, Dom.
Yeah, that's it's concerning. It's concerning. I'm on board with XHRC, who is now getting a brand new front wing. However, that is not him. That is his AI, who has now pitted for the medium compound tyre. I don't think he wanted that to happen, but I couldn't tell you.
Indeed, indeed. We'll just have a quick look again at the penalties. We have got 5 seconds for Farfu, 3 seconds apiece for Saini Move Faster and Nathan HRX. DJ Danny also on 5 seconds. Raza on 8. Sir Sharks on 3 with XHRC down in P12 at the moment with 6 seconds worth of penalties. Expect these guys now to stay on the tyres they're on, with the exception of Saini and potentially Move Faster. May have to come in and change tyres. Farfu for sure will be probably more than likely staying out until the end of the race, as will everyone else. But expect the 2 Ferrari drivers to potentially come back into the pit at some point between now and the checkered flag, especially Saini, as he has yet to complete his mandatory pit stop. So for the fourth time this race now, sorry, we are under safety car conditions. The AlphaTauri of Farfu currently sitting in 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship, in P1, as Saini does jump into the pits now to complete his mandatory pit stop. I would assume this would be Saini coming onto the soft tyre, and it is. Saini now coming onto those soft tyres, which should now take him to the end of the race. Farfu and Mufasa both on 10-lap old hard and hard and medium tyres respectively, and IRL Max on those 8-lap old medium tyres. Most importantly for Matt,
he's penalty clear.
Indeed, Matt is penalty clear, which means Matt is able to now drive the remainder of this race, try and push himself as far up those standings as he can. The key thing to look here though, guys, down in P9, our current championship leader, Liverpool Ewan. Now I do remember that he did pit under this 4th safety car onto these soft tyres, but he's going to have an absolutely flying start on the restart here to get himself back in contention of the big points.
Yeah.
To see if he can try and get himself that record for the most points in an Xbox season in IRL.
Yeah, quite right there. So it's looking like anyone could have caused this safety car. However, a few things I would like to mention. Had this have happened 4 in a row quite quickly within each other in a real life race, the race would usually be red flagged. Drivers would be pulled out of the car and have a stern talking to and told, look, this is unacceptable, we're embarrassed, please drive safely, you are putting each other's lives at risk. However, these boys are just behind a sim rig. Worst case scenario, they've got some kind of direct drive wheel and it really hurts their hands. Usually they have a stop button though, which they can tap with their knee. But yeah, worst case scenario,
we are about to go racing.
But yeah, let's get back underway.
Let's get back underway. Farfu, as always, leading the pack. He will control the field in Sector 3. Wait until the safety car has passed the safety car line before he goes green again. Waiting for the opportune moment to send his car off, and he chooses now as he gets ready to go around the final corner, and we are racing once again here at Silverstone. Mufasa is going to come under a lot of pressure here from Nathan HRX on the restart, and more importantly DJ Danny down in P4 looking to try and see if he can make a move on Nathan HRX, move himself up into these podium positions, moving up through the village area, up to the first straight, up to the Wellington straight. Little tuck of tyres there between that Alfa Romeo and the Renault, but DJ Danny keeps it clean as we go through Luffield and into, around Brooklands and into Luffield now, as we drive up towards the old pit straight here. CSR Maitland moves himself up into P8. IRL Max in P7. Liverpool Ewan, our current race leader, championship leader, my mistake, in P9, but is looking to try and see if he can make a move as Maitland makes the move on Match through Maggots and Beckett's here at Silverstone. Is Liverpool Ewing going to be able to make a move on Match? Match runs wide, and Liverpool Ewing says, thank you very much, sir. I will take that position from you. Liverpool Ewing, current championship leader, moves himself up to P8 as Maitland, having a little bit of a fight here with Raza, gets ahead of him, moves himself up into P6. Raza now going to come under pressure from Liverpool Ewing in the Renault, our current championship leader. Is he going to be able to make a move around Raza on the last corner? He is not. He's going to look to try and see if he can make a move on Raza up the main straight here, up the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight into turn 1 here, getting very, very close to the back end. Is he going to make the move down into Village? He does indeed make the move into Village. Are we going to be able to get a switch back? No, we're not. Liverpool Ewing moves himself up into P7, Dom.
Yeah, I'm currently on board with Farfu, and I'm very impressed with how good of a driver he is, nailing every apex and even pushing the limit on the apexes in some corners. Not to the point where he's going to get himself a penalty, but to the point where he's really starting to, understand his tyres, really push the car to its full potential, push the track to its full potential, and just warm that line up for himself, because I can't see any other drivers using that exact line. So if he's doing that, and other drivers are warming up the outside of the line, if he makes a slight mistake as Mufasa crashes
Mufasa has crashed out of the race.
It's only
Down in Sector 2. It's just yellow flags at the moment. I think Mufasa's car is in a safe place. Just before Maggots and Beckett's. It is on the far right-hand side of the track. That's not going to be in any danger to anyone. So we should be alright to just get that car moved out of the way by the wonderful, wonderful race stewards that we have here at Silverstone. And just like that, that car has been moved. We are green. DRS has been enabled. With 9 laps to go here at Silverstone, we are riding on board with CSR Maitland, trying to see if he can hunt down Sir Shark's winner last week, looking to try and see if he can get himself onto the podium to get himself a chat with us 2 weeks in a row. Getting very, very close. He is going to get DRS over Sir Sharks, who will obviously get it off of DJ Danny. So we are having a little bit of a DRS train here forming as the cars come up the Wellington straight here. So Sharks has a little look on DJ Danny there through into Brooklands, decides against it as Sir Sharks again trying to hunt down DJ Danny. Also having a little look in his wing mirrors because he knows Maitland's coming. I did see that IRL Mats did unfortunately pick up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but CSR Maitland, fantastic run into Maggots and Beckett's here. Is he going to be able to make a move on Sir Sharks through Maggots and Beckett's? He's not, but Sir Sharks runs wide here. That's going to open the door for CSR Maitland. Is he going to make that move up into Cop? He is indeed. Fantastic move there by CSR Maitland. Moves himself up into P3. Farfu currently leading the race by about 2 seconds from the Renault of DJ Danny. I'm going to have a quick look at our championship leader, Liverpool Ewan, who is now very much on that gearbox of Sir Sharks and in turn Maitland, as James F1 ETC puts in a 1:27.499 to get that fastest lap of the race so far. Just notice, Dom, if we were to get one more retirement, providing everyone else in the race finishes, they're guaranteed points. Doesn't matter where they finish, they are guaranteed points.
True, and the only reason you've handed over to me is because you've just talked so fast for so long that you need to drink. Please do so before you lose your voice.
Indeed!
Yeah, like I said, Farfu is absolutely flying, not missed a single apex so far, and he is really stretching those hards. He's going to
So Dom's going to jump in. DJ Danny gets the move on Maitland, moves himself up into P2.
He is going to be under a lot of pressure from those soft runners very shortly if DJ Danny lets them pass, which he will have to. No, he won't. My bad. He has been on the softs. He did start on softs. As long as he keeps the soft runners behind, Farfu could be in with a chance of winning this race. And it's going to be... I'm going to enjoy that one, because I have been waiting to interview this man since we took over on comms since day one. I am a massive Alpha Tauri fan, and whilst it is equal performance, I am loving every second that he is able to put that car into a great position. The first time I almost had the opportunity to do it with him, there was an incident, I believe, that involved him spinning and coming somewhere just inside the points. So the fact that he is able to get more seconds, well, tenths of a second on DJ Danny every lap is making it so much sweeter for me to be able to interview him at the end of the race. And it's not favoritism at all. I am just so happy to see this man doing well. I'm really pushing those two boys in the Renaults for the dinner money, really. He is holding them at ransom.
Indeed. We are on board with James F1 ETC, who is at the back of this little DRS train. There was a few little moves there between CSR Maitland and DJ Danny, swapping between second and third themselves. James did have a little look up the inside of Liverpool Ewing before coming up the Wellington straight. Decided against it as the cars now drive through Maggots and Beckett here on lap 20 here at the British Grand Prix. This is the Invictus Racing League. This is Season 12, Round 8 action from, as I say, the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. My name is Keiran Wright 92, and as always, I am joined by my broadcast colleague, Dom the Noodle. If you guys are enjoying what you are seeing, please consider heading over to the YouTube channel where all of the races from Invictus Racing League are posted. That is youtube.com/InvictusRL. If you want to join the conversation on Twitter and get involved, you can find us at InvictusRL, on Instagram at Invictus Racing League, and the website for the league is InvictusRacingLeague.com. This is the F1 League on the Xbox side of things. We are here every Tuesday night on Twitch, twitch.tv/Invictus Racing League, where you will find myself and Dom on a Tuesday, and on a Thursday you will find our broadcast colleagues Andrew and Matt doing the realistic side of things. So those guys will be live here on Thursday with the realistic league, Dom.
I would like to cut in on you here. I will revert back to that conversation. Liverpool Ewan is getting very, very angry behind Sir Sharks. He has made several moves which haven't quite worked. Sharks has shut the door on every attempt. They did come together. It was a very light touch, not enough to cause wing damage in the damage mode we are on. He is now about to try the move into cops for the 5th time since playing since the safety car. He's hating every second of this. He's getting very angry, very frustrated. Every move he tries is just not working, and you can tell he's getting very jammy on the throttle. It's starting to cause the car to spin, and it's really starting to affect his mental state of mind in this race. I could see this causing some kind of collision between him and Sir Sharks, which could potentially cause either a yellow flag, a virtual safety car, or a safety car. However,
if we were to get another safety car, I think I would genuinely cry, because I don't think we've got enough filler to warrant enough fill for a 5th safety car. Pretty sure this is the most safety cars I've ever seen in an F1 2020 race. I'm wondering if Mr. Fairmoto is in the chat. Keith, do we have a record for the most safety cars in a race in IRL history? And if so, how close are we to breaking that record?
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure we've got to be close.
Oh, I would love to see another safety car just to make that record 5.
What I might do is I might leave Dom to pop into the Discord and see if he can work out what the record is there. Nathan HRX picks up a 3-second time penalty. We will have a quick look at the race leader Farfu on those 17-lap old hard tyres. He did pit under the first safety car and has not bothered coming back in since, which is a pretty fair thing to do. It's something that Dom and I were expecting. And you can see now, guys, the fastest lap does very, very quickly change hands from Liverpool Ewan to James F1 ETC. Of course, those are the 2 cars at the back of that little DRS train, as Sir Sharks did pick up a 3-second time penalty here. We will quickly jump to the man who is in 2nd place, CSR Maitland, who's going to come under pressure from DJ Danny here in the Renault. Danny makes that quite easy with the DRS. Just coasts himself around round that Haas, and as you can see, Liverpool Ewan and Sir Sharks having a nice battle there through Luffield and Brooklands. They have Liverpool Ewan though has made it work. Ewan has moved himself up into P4 and can now start hunting down CSR Maitland, his teammate DJ Danny, and of course our race leader Farfu11. Have a quick look. Raza gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We will quickly just watch, is Liverpool Ewan able to close the gap between himself and Maitland? Maitland has got the DRS on DJ Danny, getting very, very close. Is Maitland going to be able to make the move stick? He is not. DJ Danny maintains that P2 going through the final sections of this lap. Massive lock up there though by Liverpool Ewan. We are going to jump a little bit further down. We're going to have a look at James F1 ETC, who is at the back of this battle between Sir Sharks and Liverpool Ewan. We are on lap 24 of 26. We have 3 laps left here at Silverstone, the home, as far as I'm concerned, the home of British motorsport, a home of Formula 1. We have got James F1 ETC going to get that DRS off of Sir Sharks, but as I say, he is at the back of that DRS train. Have a quick look down further down the grid at Saney, possibly could make a move on IRL Matt here, who is going to be on very, very worn medium tyres now. He's been on these medium tyres for 17 laps. Surely, Dom, these tyres must be screaming at Matt.
Nah, they'll be alright. They'll be alright. If I can just get an onboard real quick. Yeah, you can't even see the code. They're still looking for another 3 or 4 laps. By that point, we'll have crossed the line permanently for the rest of the week, well, for the rest of the night, in which we will then be starting the engines for these cars yet again tomorrow night at the same time over on YouTube, and then they'll be crossing the line, and then we'll be starting the engines again on Thursday night for these cars. However, that time
just going to jump in quickly, Dom. Just going to jump in quickly. Liverpool Ewan picks up a 3-second time penalty with the gaps. That's going to move Ewan down to P6.
Keep going.
It's going to be a little bit further than that. Liverpool Ewan has unfortunately had a little bit of a spin there. P5 up now to F1 James. Was that a lock up of the rear tyres, was it, Dom?
No. So, his and Maitland's wheels locked together. Maitland was fast to the corner and came across. So Ewan put his car there. It was Ewan's fault. And I'll say that, and if I'm wrong, I'll put my hands up and apologise in our next live stream. But from my perspective, what had happened there is Ewan had just gone too deep on Maitland. Their wheels had locked together. Maitland had come around the corner faster than Ewan had, and just potato. One of them's going to say it was his fault, the other one's going to say it was his fault, and the stewards are looking into it, but I can personally see it being a good old-fashioned racing incident.
Indeed. So Liverpool Ewan, a lot of work to do now to try and see if he can catch up to the back of James F1 ETC in 5th place. He is 5.6 seconds down, and bear in mind that Liverpool Ewan does have that 3-second time penalty as well. Just going to have a quick look at the penalties for everyone here. Farfu and DJ Danny both with 5 seconds apiece, so they will pretty much nullify each other. In fact, saying that, with both of those guys getting a 5-second time penalty, we need to be looking at Ps 3, 4 and 5 here. That could genuinely be our podium, Dom.
Not quite. So, from gap 2 leader is, for Maitland, anyway, 2.5 seconds. So that'll put him first. After that, James F1 at 3.6.
Yeah, James F1 is the one you would... That's enough. Both Farfu and Danny have 5-second penalties, Dom.
Yeah, so you'll be looking
We are on the final lap of this race here. Farfu and Danny really need to try and see if they can push themselves away from these cars in 3, 4 and 5 before the end of this race. Farfu, we will quickly ride on board with Farfu as he comes up through the final corner. There is Farfu. He's about to finish this race. But here we go, CSR Maitland. CSR Maitland, Sir Sharks and James F1 ETC more than likely going to be your podium here following penalties, ladies and gents. Farfu crosses the line P1, DJ Danny P2, CSR Maitland P3. Farfu holds on to P3 because I myself forgot that Sir Sharks had that 3-second time penalty.
Yep.
CSR Maitland back-to-back wins for the Haas driver. James F1 ETC in the Mercedes gets himself 2nd place. Farfu in the Alpha Tauri. He's finished first on track, but will be on that 3rd step of the podium. DJ Danny P4, Sir Sharks in P5. Liverpool Ewan, our race championship leader, currently, well, finishes himself in P6. We will go through the rest of the final standings when they appear on screen. I will let Dom get our podium into the party with us. CSR Maitland, James F1 ETC and Farfu 11, if you did need reminding, Dom.
I am attempting to spell.
Jamie 29X leaving the session. You'll see a lot of drivers just jump out of the session now, guys. Indeed, the Ravens King in chat saying GG Maitland. That is back-to-back wins for that Haas driver. He has had a very, very strong showing over these past 2 weeks. Very much making himself one to look out for in this session. Here are your final standings, so ladies and gents. CSR Maitland gets himself P1, James F1 ETC in P2, Farfu finishes in 3rd, DJ Danny in 4th, Sir Sharks in 5th, Liverpool U in 6th, Nathan the HRX in 7th, Saney 8th, IRL Max in 9th, XHRC in 10th, Raza in 11th, and unfortunately we do have Mufasta, Botch Gerbil, Thunderdome, Jamie 29X, El Sonado and St Johnston, who were the drivers who unfortunately couldn't finish. Looks like I may potentially have to do the post-race interviews on my own.
I can help, mate.
Tom's Xbox has just Tom's Xbox has decided that it's going to sign himself out, which is just what we love. So we have got James in the party. Let's see if we can get Maitland and Farfu. Dom is back with us now. Welcome back, Mr. Dom. Yeah, that's not a problem, mate. Okay, I will let you try and do that. Whilst you do that, I will have a chat with James, the sole driver that we have got in the party. Hello again, James.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
I suppose first thing I'll say is obviously we've got the race results, but it looks like there's going to be. It looks like Danny's got a 5-second pen to be removed.
Okay.
For being hit into the back of. So that, I believe that makes the top 3 Farfu. No, sorry. It'd be Danny, me, Farfu would be the top 3.
Okay.
Something like that.
And that would be Danny with the
Maitland,
race win.
It would put Danny at race win. I'd say yeah. Get if you can't get far, yeah, get Danny. But yes, actually no, sorry, it'd be Danny Maitland me. That'd be the
There we go.
the podium. That's right. I'll got you last.
Gotta love it when an Xbox does that. There we go. We have got the other guys in the party with us now. What we'll do is we'll start with our P3, which would have been you, James, I believe.
It would. Yeah.
Yes, P1 would be Danny, P2 would be Maitland, and P3 is James. So I will start with you, James. James, how did you feel your race went this evening, mate?
Well, it's sort of you could almost count on, barely count on 2 hands the amount of laps that we actually had run under green. It very much felt like something, then maybe 1 to 2 laps, and then safety car, and then 1 to 2 laps safety car. So yeah, obviously Farfu showed that should have in hindsight just stuck with the pit into the hards and then sticking with that. But yeah, incidents galore, spins galore. Pretty much there was a lot to digest in that one. I'm sure for you guys more so than me.
Indeed. Dom, have you got a question you want to ask James?
Yeah, I do. So, like you said, safety car after safety car after safety car. How frustrating was it to be behind someone under a safety car constantly?
It was okay from the standpoint of, I mean, for myself, like pretty much every time there was a safety car, I ended up changing my strategy. So it was sort of, you knew you was going to pit, so you expected to come up behind someone. But yeah, it was. In the end, it sort of, I think it worked out in my benefit, the lack of green flag running, because I think the further it would have been green, the larger I would have struggled. So to inherit P3, and more so happy with a no penalty race. Yeah, pretty solid result, to be fair.
Yeah, I was on board with quite a few of you. I tried to get on board with as many of you as I could for actual green laps, and you seemed to nail every apex. So Silverstone being one of your best circuits, then.
Previous iterations, like, yeah, definitely. This time around, like, I think it's just because of how quick the cars are compared to previous as well. Especially like Maggots Beckett's, I really struggle holding a decent line through Beckett's now. So my lap time massively struggles because of that. But I'd say, and obviously that's the thing that ultimately costs you onto the run to the second onto the back straight. So, but outside of that, then yeah, I'd say especially first sector, pretty happy with it.
Sweet. So, Paul Ricard in France. Well, before I go into that, so let's hope and pray that these high downforce cars help in the next game, shall we? Maybe you can get some better lines from Maggots and Beckett's. Yeah, like I was saying, on to Paul Ricard in France. I personally, I love calming on this track. I hate driving this track. There is no in between. How are you feeling going into one of, if not the strictest track limit track on the F1 2020 game?
It's definitely going to punish. I think, yeah, it's ultimately going to be a case of, you know, DRS potential, strategy, but exactly what you've just said there. It's going to be just nailing clean laps. Like normal track, we know that obviously Danny's strong point on any track is the ability to sort of drive at the limit and not get pens. But yeah, whereas with France, for sure, it's going to be an absolute mammoth task. So I don't think it's going to be a case of just being able to rock up next Tuesday, find us out like 5 minutes before, and then just hop in the lobby. I think, yeah, there's going to have to be a bit more planning going on this time.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations for yet another podium. I believe this is the third time we've had you in the party for a podium.
I've got no idea. But it's a pleasure as always.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, awesome talk there. Awesome answering of questions as well from James, always is. Now on to Maitland. Maitland, was there any doubt in your mind that you had that podium in the bag?
Well, it was a very up and down race. Says got restarts. I don't think a single one of them went well for me particularly. One time I lost it myself. Other time Danny lost it and collected me and James. So I was very relieved to see another safety car came out, but that would have been done. But after the restart, the last restart, when I was on the softs, I knew I'd be one of the quickest in the field for the first couple of laps. So it was just about getting those moves done as quick as possible so the tyres don't drop off and just get myself through the field, really.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was a great run for what we did eventually end up running. 4 safety cars, I believe that's a record for Invictus. Around possibly the showcase event. I'd say the showcase, the second biggest showcase event in F1, it being the home of F1. Did the safety cars affect your strategy in any way, or was it just, I've got this written down, this is what I'm doing?
Well, it changed everything because we had to, realistically, because obviously the front 4 first safety car made it to the pit lane and got caught by the safety car, and it's regardless of where you come out, it's worth picking anyway because you lose so much time because of how long and slow the pit lane is. So I dashed in the second time round, which lost me a lot of trap position, but it got me back of the pack, and then I lost it myself, which obviously put no span in the work and got blessed by another safety car, and then mediums went on because I thought it would go to the end, and then ended up putting softs on because another safety car came out. So yeah, it was always like taking it as it went rather than planning it out because it's impossible to predict 4 safety cars in one race.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a rule. Play for safety car, and if there isn't, wing it. and if you're playing for, if you can never predict form, and when it does happen, it's a once in a blue moon miracle. I couldn't have. I'd have lost too much concentration. Was that a factor at all? The loss of concentration?
I think what helped was having people in the party as well, because when you're on your own, you kind of like zone out. But when you've got someone to like talk to, you're very concentrated, because also they're talking what you're doing as well. It kind of helps. But it's, yeah, I managed to stay switched on for a lot of it. I think the last restart, especially because I knew what was at stake, and I wanted to put a bit of a show on for the streams, you know, putting in some good odd little takes, which I hope was captured, because the battle with me and Danny in Sector 2 was pretty mad. So I'm hoping that was on stream, but yeah, we move on to next week.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely going to be some overtakes of the week coming in. I got some great perspectives. Obviously, I don't stream the race, it's Keiran that does. Many thank you to him, because he does a great job of it every week. Talking about weeks, next week, France. A bit happy with the track, a bit meh. How you feel?
Honestly, it's a weird one, because you want to qualify in soft track position, but the softs don't last very long, and you have to go to either a soft hard, which you have to be good on your tyres, or a two stop, which will just lose you a lot of time compared to those and medium hard. So it's going with the right tyre for the right situation, and how far you're willing to be back to be on the right tyre. So also track limits is going to be a big one as well. Keeping it within those white lines, especially sector 1, I'd say. It's all going to be. I'm hoping it's less stage cars than today, because it kind of ruins the flow of the race when you've got stop start.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, thank you very much. Congratulations on P2. Now we move on to someone who technically didn't finish on the podium, but due to penalty removal, which will undoubtedly happen, takes P1. That would be DJ Danny. Just a couple of questions for you from myself, and then I'll let Keiran do the rest. First of all, congratulations, how are you feeling?
That was tough. Yeah, happy to get the win, because yeah, I feel like the first safety car really did screw over like myself, Maitland, can't remember who else was in the queue. But yeah, it did kind of screw us over, and I feel like obviously Maitland pitted, but I stayed out, and then the second safety car came out, which meant we could box, but then we still lost positions, and it was kind of like the safety cars didn't really help the race, but I feel like they also spiced up the end of it, so it made the first half a bit crap, but the second half I felt it was a lot better, and it was I don't know what it came across on stream, but for me it was very tough to keep Maitland behind for the first part, and then when he got past, obviously getting back past and then keeping behind for so long, yeah, that was tough, and he put up a very good fight, and it was a fun battle as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. So my only real question for you tonight, before I hand off to Keiran, who will ask you many more, and has probably already written them down. Your teammate struggled to keep his cool on that last restart, especially trying to catch everyone, trying to get that track position. Eventually it caused him a spin because he got too aggressive. Did you manage to keep your cool the entire way through that after that restart, or was there a point in which you were like, I swear to God, if you pass me, that is it?
I wouldn't say I'm the type to get angry. Like, if I do get angry, I wouldn't take it out on track, kind of thing. Like, it wouldn't affect too much. Like, obviously it would affect, but it's not one of those where I personally don't think it would make too much of a difference. But I think it was one of those things where my main objective was to keep ahead of you, and gain those points in the championship. And I think when obviously Maitland got past, I was kind of happy to sit behind him for a bit. But then when the opportunity came to pass him, then yeah, I obviously took it, and that ultimately paid off. But it was one of those things where I would have been happy with P2 just to gain the points, and I saw that he was behind. I believe it was behind Maitland at the time when the contact happened, and yeah, it just seemed like he was getting. There was only a couple of laps to go, and I think it obviously got a little bit over the top, which these things happen. But yeah, where did he finish in the end?
He finished in P6.
Okay.
P6
So,
after that collision with Maitland, and a bit of a wheel lock together, and it spun him round. But yeah, awesome, thank you. Congratulations on getting your win from me. I will let Keiran take over.
Thank you, Dom. Yeah, as we said, Danny, 4 safety cars this race. Very, very stop-start. Did that worry you that it could affect you in any way? Sort of having to constantly stop-start, so you're getting into your groove, and then the safety car's coming out, so you're having to slow down and save tyres, save fuel wear, things like that?
I mean, with fuel, I mean, I think all of us, Maitland, James, and myself, were all in the freeze, 3 laps plus, and we were saying how we've got too much fuel, and trying to burn it off under the safety car is quite hard because you don't want to overheat your engine. But in terms of it kind of, because obviously you're like, oh right, okay, I'm here and I need to do this, and then the safety car comes out and you have to change and either box with everyone else or stay out. And obviously after my spin after the 3rd safety car, I was quite lucky with the 4th safety car coming out, and that meant I could, and then everyone else boxed, and I could. I decided to stay out, which ultimately paid off, and got me on podium. So yeah, it was one of those things where, especially then myself and Farfu being on older tyres, yeah, Maitland, James, Rich, they're all massively quick on them soft tyres. So yeah, it does spice things up, but then it kind of spices things up for the end of the race and not during the first few laps, where we'll probably have more safety car laps to immediate green laps.
Yeah, of course. It has actually just been confirmed by James F1 in the F1 drivers room that only half of tonight's laps were actually completed under green flag. You spent half of this race under some sort of safety car conditions, being in a safety car or a VSC. You mentioned there that towards the end of the race you and Farfu were on quite worn tyres. Were you worried that tyre wear was going to become an issue if the race had continued on for that little bit longer, or were you quietly confident that you were able to get the car home despite having slightly worn tyres?
I knew I could get it to the end. I didn't know how quickly I'd be able to get to the end. It was one of those things where I thought if I could build a little bit of a gap at the start, I may have a chance. But once, I think Maitland getting past the first time actually helped, because then I could be in his DRS, and the only time I really struggled was the low traction of turn 4, I think it is, going on to the Wellington straight. So that's the only time I really struggled against the soft runners, and I think yeah, I mean Maitland and James and that, they're all very quick guys, and I think round here, because DRS is so powerful, once you're behind someone who has DRS, you have to dump your pack or hope they get a massively bad exit, and I think yeah, you'd have to have quite a big advantage to get past, or the guy in front not have DRS. So yeah, congrats obviously to James and Maitland on their podiums as well.
Indeed, massive congrats to both of those guys. And one final question for you, Danny, from myself. The win here, coupled with your teammate finishing down in P6, by my calculations, enables you to close the gap between yourself and Ewan by 11 points from this race, meaning there is only the 12 or 13 points, I believe, between the two of you now, with 4 races to go. Are you now looking at that P1 and thinking, I can actually do this? I could become Drivers' Champion?
It's certainly possible. I mean, the second half of the season has got a lot of tracks that suit me, and France being one I do particularly like. It's not it's not my favourite, but it's one I think I'm pretty decent at driving around, and I think I could get a good result. And so I think it is possible if we keep on having races like this. I will happily take it, but I think it's before today it was kind of like a far-stretched hope, and now it's kind of it is more possible. It's just about keeping consistent now to the end of the season and trying to get on the podium every race.
Of course. So next week we are, as Dom mentioned earlier, heading to Circuit Paul Ricard in France, a track that you're strong at. You said there's a few tracks and sort of in the second half that you are quite strong at. Is France one of the ones that you're more strong at, or are you sort of looking at other races going forward as the ones where you're going to really look to try and make the most of the points that you can get?
I think the only one that I probably will struggle at a little bit is probably Spain. So I think France, China, and Singapore. I think I've got. I hope I can get on at least a top 5 or a podium. And I think, to be honest, the objective for the end for the rest of the season is just to outscore Ewan. It's not about getting wins and podiums. Obviously, I want to get wins and podiums, but if I can outscore Ewan, then it closes the championship gap. So yeah, it's just about doing that, really.
Of course. Well, that is all from me. Dom, have you got anything else that you want to quickly ask Danny before we close off the stream today?
I do not have any questions, just a congratulations to all drivers on the podium, who all raced superbly under green light conditions. It wasn't the greatest race for action, in a way. Whilst the action we did have was perfect, it would have been nice to have that for the 100% of the race, not the 50 that we did end up running. The only thing I can say is thank you, Danny, for spicing up the championship action.
Indeed. So, as Dom said, a massive congratulations to the guys who finished on the podium today and for joining us in the party. Thank you very much, gents. Hopefully we'll speak to you all again next week in France. But that, of course, does, however, ladies and gents, bring us to the end of our broadcast here this evening. A massive thank you to every single one of you who has joined us and continues to support IRL. IRL Xbox is back this Thursday as Andrew and Matt take you through the action in the Realistic Performance League. Dom and I will be back on your screens next Tuesday with the F1 Xbox League from the Circuit Paul Ricard in France. So please join us then. But for more IRL racing action, be sure to head to our YouTube channel in youtube.com/InvictusRL. Follow us on Twitter @InvictusRL, on Instagram @InvictusRacingLeague, and be sure to check out the website InvictusRacingLeague.com. But until next time, from myself, Keiran92, and Dom the Noodle, thank you for watching. Good night.